Stop the car.
Coming up on Valley View News, a suspect is in custody after leading police in an hours-long chase in the San Gabriel Valley. Plus, more than 100 people were shot and killed, and others injured at a concert in Moscow. And a theme park for the comic series Dragon Ball is coming soon. We'll tell you where.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Quinn Alexander.
And I am Edward Segal.
A man is behind bars after allegedly hijacking a bus with a BB gun and forcing the driver to crash into a luxury hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Authorities say 24-year-old Anai Lindsay made threats to the driver using the weapon before grabbing the steering wheel, causing it to crash into several cars. The bus eventually came to a stop at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Lindsay ran away from the crash scene but was later arrested. Officials recovered his weapon from the sidewalk. 2 people were taken to the hospital, including the bus driver, who was later released. Authorities say the other victim is in stable condition. Lindsay was charged with kidnapping, and his bail is set to $100,000. His motive is still a mystery.
Authorities arrested a man who was caught eating a human leg that he removed from a train accident scene.
And he was waving a person's leg, and he started chewing on it over there. He was biting it, and then he was hitting it against the wall and everything.
Jose Ibarra recorded this disturbing video of Rosendo Tellez swinging around a severed human leg and taking small bites out of it. The Kern County Sheriff's Department say Tellez allegedly removed the leg from a scene at the Wasco Amtrak station where there were reports of a pedestrian that was struck and killed by a train. He was charged with a misdemeanor for removing human body parts from an area that is not a cemetery without law enforcement approval and will appear in court this week.
A man was killed and another injured by a mountain lion in Northern California. The El Dorado County Sheriff's Office says it happened in Georgetown area over the weekend after a call from an 18-year-old saying he and his 21-year-old brother were attacked while hunting. Authorities say they found the caller separated from his brother and took him to the hospital where he was treated for serious facial injuries. They later found the older brother on the ground next to the mountain lion. He died at the scene after officers scared the wildcat away. Officials say this is the first deadly mountain lion attacks in California since 2004.
CSUN's Maple Hall is officially open for students. The modern building, which took 2 years to complete, adds classrooms, lecture halls, and common space. The 3-story atrium is adjacent to Manzanita Hall and will move more than 400 classes from Sierra Hall. The project was financed by CSU state funds and was reported to cost nearly $50 million.
With artificial intelligence on the rise, the LA Unified School District is hoping to get ahead of the curve by embracing new technologies. Valley View News got a first-hand look on the new program and how it will soon enter schools and student homes.
Folks, this is one of those technologies that if you do not master it, it will master you. I want our children to master tomorrow's economy.
The next generation of students will now be learning with AI. LA Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho introduced ED, an artificial intelligence program tasked with creating a personalized learning environment for each student.
I'm learning every day just like you. See you soon.
ED relies on the information that the district already possesses, analyzes it, personalizes it to the need of each student, and then builds a pathway, as you will see.
Elton Marientos is a high school senior. He was given early access to ED and says he not only prefers the personalized learning method compared to the current programs, but it makes it easier for his family to be more supportive of his studies.
Since many of them haven't gone to college or high school, this could help me study and do all of that and maybe not put a lot of pressure on my parents.
But ED is not just a tool for the classroom. ED goes home with you. Carvalho says the program will wake students up every day and tell them when it's time to leave their home.
ED, because it is connected to the GPS of our school buses, will remind the students and the parents about the time of arrival of the bus. Juan, your bus is 5 minutes away. Time to walk out the door.
Carvalho says ED is now in 101 schools and is exposed to 55,000 students, but the district is hoping to soon expand to 540,000 students. Speaking of large numbers, a Powerball ticket worth almost $2.5 million was sold at a 7-Eleven in Sun Valley. While the ticket matched 5 of the 6 numbers, no one won the jackpot of about $800 million. No one won the Mega Millions either, which is now estimated to be a jackpot of over $1 billion. $1 billion.
At least one person is dead and 5 others injured after a shooting in Indianapolis occurred over the weekend. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey says 5 people were injured and 1 was an off-duty officer who was still in uniform.
We're sorry that someone lost their life here tonight. I'm also very happy that our officer did not sustain any significant injuries.
Authorities have not released any information about the person who was killed. The officer was taken to the hospital and released. The 4 others are also expected to recover. The shooting happened overnight Sunday outside of a bar parking lot after an altercation. Police say they retrieved the firearm that was used in the parking lot.
Potholes are becoming a larger problem for drivers, especially with the recent rain in the Los Angeles area. Valley View News' Matthew Bagula spoke to one couple that decided to take matters into their own hands.
These days, it seems like it's potholes galore on Compton's Alameda Street.
We have had several vehicles throughout those 5 years.
Where swerving around to avoid vehicle damage isn't enough.
We've gone with 3 sets of tires, and we've only had a month and a half with this vehicle.
Independent contractors Alex and Daisy De La Rosa say they were tired of paying for damage after driving over potholes. Vehicles' suspension, axles, flat tires, and other general maintenance were getting too expensive, and since it seemed like the city wasn't taking action, they started filling the holes in their spare time, paying most of it with money from their own pockets, which hasn't been cheap. Daisy says that this pothole, which her and her husband filled on a previous day, took 7 bags of asphalt. 1 bag of asphalt, she says, cost $20. However, she says a pothole as big as this might take up to 40 bags. But they are not alone, thanks to donations from citizens and companies across America. American Road Patch traveled from Ventura County to assist after watching the couple in a recent interview.
I reached out to Daisy through Instagram and offered my services and some of my product and to donate product to help her fill some of the potholes.
In a recent council meeting, the city of Compton said they have told the De La Rosas to stop their operation. Daisy has a very different story.
They said that we were going to cease and desist. We've never gotten a call from them.
I contacted the city for a comment on their statement about the De La Rosas. They have not given a response. Reporting from Compton, California, I'm Matthew Brugula for Valley View News.
Thank you, Matthew. A driver led authorities on a long, slow speed chase through the San Gabriel Valley on Friday night. The chase began in Monterey Park through surface streets and then onto the 605 freeway. The suspect made 4 stops throughout the chase and made gestures to officers. It was unclear what the gestures were meant to do. The driver was taken into custody late into the night after he surrendered to CHP and was suspected to be driving under the influence.
A man is in custody after a hidden camera was found in the bathroom of a San Jose Starbucks. San Jose police say the employee found the camera under a bathroom sink facing the toilet. Investigators found extremely graphic footage, and over 91 people from ages 4 to 85 were caught on camera. When the 35-year-old suspect was arrested at his home earlier this month, police found 20 firearms, including an assault rifle with high-capacity magazines, alongside more micro cameras. He's facing multiple charges, including possession of child pornography and installment of a hidden surveillance camera. Starbucks released a statement saying it is disturbed over the incident and expressed its thanks toward the San Jose Police Department.
Vice President Harris took a tour of Florida's Parkland High School, the school ravaged by a shooting massacre in 2018. Dried blood, broken glass, and bullet-pocked walls and floors is what Harris saw. The memories of that shooting that left 14 students dead and 17 injured still frozen in time. The vice president was alongside some of the victims' family members who pushed for more spending on schools and stronger gun laws. Following the tour, Harris announced a $750 million grant to provide technical assistance and training to Florida and 20 other states with the similar red flag laws.
I was in classrooms where, frozen in time, the laptops of that era are still on the desks, which have since gathered dust.
The law allows a judge-approved police officer to momentarily seize guns that belong to anyone with strange behaviors.
Teachers and staff at a local school district are demanding for better wages and working conditions. Our Cooper Ignatian was in Santa Clarita, where the Hart District Teachers Association rallied for higher wages.
Imagine being a teacher, but not being paid enough to live where you teach. Many Hart Union High School District teachers say that is their reality. More than 800 of them gathered to rally outside of the district office in Santa Clarita to make their voices heard and demand higher wages, with the Hart District Teachers Association President John Minkus leading the charge.
But most importantly, we're here to right a wrong. Okay, folks? This is the way the system works. We're 80% plus of the budget. When they get money, that's how we get our money.
This is not just a rally for higher wages. This is a fight for their livelihoods.
I left a great job, which I love, but it had longer commutes. I love the Hart District. I want to work in the Hart District. I want to live in the Hart District. But we have to have more money because the cost of living keeps going up. So that's what we're hoping, is to just get a fair deal.
The Hart District Teachers Association has been in a state of confusion as to why the district hasn't received the same cost of living adjustments that other districts obtained for the 23-24 school year.
One side says there's, 80 plus million surplus. One side says there's nothing. So I believe there's been some outside mediation to come in to kind of get to the actual numbers. So waiting to hear about that and what happens there.
District Superintendent Mike Coleman stated that their task is to balance the needs of everyone. If negotiations end up falling through, the teachers will file for an impasse and prepare to strike. Reporting from Santa Clarita, Cooper Ignatian, Valley View News.
Thank you, Cooper. After a few days and a couple meetings, the Hart District Teachers Association and the board came to a tentative deal. The details of the deal have not been released, but it will now go to membership to be voted on and then later ratified.
More to come on Valley View News. Russia and China reject a draft of a resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza. We'll tell you why. And a music festival shuts down early due to severe weather conditions in Florida. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's travel to news overseas. Valeria Yanez is in our digital media center with the latest international updates. And Valeria?
Thank you, Edward. ISIS has claimed all responsibility for Russia's worst terrorist attack in decades. Crocus City Hall in Moscow was attacked by 4 armed shooters during a concert. More than 6,000 people were at the venue during the attack when the gunmen opened fire on the public. The Russian Investigative Committee said that the attackers used combustion products that led to the poisoning of some victims. They also used flammable liquid to set fire to parts of the venue. 137 people were killed and more than 140 people were injured. Authorities say that the deaths were caused by poisoning and gunshot wounds, but Russia has not commented on the ISIS claim. The United States warned Moscow days before the deadly attack that ISIS had intentions to target Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin rejected the advice by calling it provocative and saying that it was an intention to intimidate and destabilize their society. David Hersenhorn of The Washington Post says a few words on how Putin handled the situation.
Remarkable, and Putin will likely face some scrutiny about this. He was so dismissive, suggesting that this was blackmail, extortion by Western structures, as he put it, in an effort to destabilize Russian society. Remember that at one point, there was a real possibility that Russia and the United States, Russia and the West, would be partners against true enemies like ISIS.
The U.S. Embassy in Russia said earlier this month that they were investigating reports of extremists planning on targeting large gatherings in Moscow, but Putin failed to hear the warnings from the U.S. The U.S. National Security Council and the U.S. government shared this information with Russia in accordance to its duty to warn policy. A resolution that the United States proposed in relation to calling a ceasefire in Gaza has been vetoed. The rejected resolution called for a sustained ceasefire and the release of the remaining hostages, but Russia and China vetoed the draft. The U.S. previously vetoed 3 UN resolutions that called for a ceasefire, causing Arab countries and Europe to criticize the U.S. for refusing to call for a ceasefire earlier. Some experts say that Russia and China are playing politics and are putting their desire to isolate the U.S. internationally by putting their interests ahead of the Palestinians in Gaza who need a ceasefire. Several years after deadly Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico still struggles with the after effects. Many communities are coming together to rebuild as a recent federal audit unveils funding delays. Valley View News' Jasmine Cusa has the latest from Puerto Rico.
It's been 7 years since deadly Hurricane Maria battered Puerto Rico, and as a federal audit reveals, a lot of work is still to be done. Many parts of the island still endure the after effects of the storm, with very little relief in sight.
The storm ravaged through the area, and its trail is still seen today in many infrastructures.
A report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office says Puerto Rico has spent less than 10% of the $23 billion federal funds available to help rebuild. More than $11 billion from the budget still requires approval from FEMA. For a small community on the island's coast called La Perla, the storm had no mercy. Carmen Lopez Rivera works for the community board and says residents had to turn to each other for help. Thank God we did not have losses of any resident that has to do related to the hurricane, but we did suffer because many of the houses deteriorated. A substantial amount of permanent projects are still pending, and it's unclear why the territory's government hasn't taken steps to access the funds. Many agencies expect to turn in applications for rebuilding projects by 2030. Until then, Lopez says the community will have to rely on unity as their only beacon of hope. We are a blessed community because we are united. Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico for Valley View News, I'm Jasmine Cusa.
Jasmine, thank you. That's the very latest from the Digital Media Center. I'm Valeria Yanez. Back to you.
Valeria, thank you. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has an undisclosed form of cancer.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery.
She made the announcement in a video posted online after months of speculation about her condition. Princess Kate had major abdominal surgery in London back in January. She says she is undergoing preventative chemotherapy and is okay, but is hoping to make a full recovery. The 42-year-old, who married into the British royal family in 2011, said it has been an incredibly rough couple of months. She is asking for privacy as she completes her treatment.
Pigs can't fly, but they could save your life. It comes after doctors announced the first transplant of a pig kidney into a human. Surgeons at the Massachusetts General Hospital performed a 4-hour surgery to give a man diagnosed with end-stage kidney disease a genetically modified pig kidney. The patient, Richard Slayman, had previously received a human kidney back in 2018, but it showed signs of failure 5 years later. Doctors applauded Slayman's decision to go forward with the surgery.
We thoroughly discussed with the patient on multiple occasions all the known and unknown risks of the procedure, and he bravely decided to move forward with the xenotransplantation.
The hospital says he's recovering well and expects to discharge him soon.
Luxury handbag company Hermes is being sued for allegedly violating antitrust law for being a monopoly. 2 California customers say they were being told to buy other items from the company to be allowed to purchase a Birkin bag. According to CNN, Hermes is likely to claim that the brand loyalty is the motive for the rule, which the plaintiff would have to prove as false. Officials say the lawsuit will be difficult to prove, but could still affect the brand's image.
Apple is facing a major antitrust lawsuit after being accused of monopolizing the smartphone market. The U.S. Justice Department and a dozen other states filed the blockbuster antitrust lawsuit. It's one of the biggest in the recent string of big tech companies facing stirring complaints. The anticipated lawsuit comes after many allegations that Apple has harmed competition with restrictive App Store terms, high fees, and tight restrictions on third-party interactions with products and services. Apple says it will fight against the lawsuit, claiming it could empower the government to take a heavy hand in designing people's technology.
When we come back, a hip-hop legend receives his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Also, the interpreter for new Dodger Shohei Ohtani is under investigation after being accused of stealing from the player. We have the details. Stay with us.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Welcome back. Warner Brothers Picture just released a trailer for the sequel Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. The teaser includes elements from the original Beetlejuice movie, such as clips, the iconic music, and setting. Winona Ryder and Catherine O'Hara reprise their roles with Jenna Ortega joining the cast. The trailer ends with Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice character. The first movie was a success in the box office, and speculation for a sequel was suspected for years. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is set to premiere in theaters September 6th.
The Ultra Music Festival was shut down Friday for its first day due to Florida's severe weather. The announcement was made just before Dutch producer Hardwell was set to take the stage. The Ultra Music Festival hosts up to 55,000 fans per day at the Bayfront Park in Miami, Florida. Since it started in 2001, festival attendees travel from more than 100 different countries, along with 42 million people who tune into the official live stream. The music festival returned on Saturday and ran through Sunday.
The Dragon Ball universe will get its first ever theme park in Saudi Arabia. The park will span 500,000 meters and will feature rides and attractions inspired by the series. Dragon Ball started as a series in a Japanese comic magazine. The creator, Akira Toriyama, died this month at age 68. His comic eventually turned into several movies, TV shows, and video games. Hotels and restaurants will also be built at the site of the amusement park, as will a Six Flags roller coaster theme park.
Thousands of local fans gathered to see the unveiling of a global artist, Dr. Dre's star, on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Valley View News' Hugo Maldonado Garcia has more.
It may just be a regular day, but for locals and fans, it's officially Dre Day. Compton native Andre Romel Young, better known as Dr. Dre, is the latest artist who received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Fans say Dr. Dre continues to inspire people like this local artist.
I think Dr. Dre means to me that if you have a dream and you have goals and you work towards them, that you can accomplish them and you can achieve them, no matter where you come from, no matter where your background is, or no matter what kind of stereotypes people place on you.
The rapper brought out some of his recognizable colleagues on stage. Eminem, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg were all in attendance and also spoke on Dr. Dre's impact in their careers and the music industry. Local Dr. Dre fans who showed up to celebrate his star say that a star on the Walk of Fame is a well-deserved recognition.
The fact that he's from here and I'm from here, he just lets me know that, man, me being from here, that I can make it. All things is possible, no matter where you come from, through the rough, through the grimy, you can still do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still doing it. So thank you, Dre.
So the next time you're on Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Jimmy Kimmel Studios, keep an eye out for Dr. Dre's star. For Valley View News, I'm Hugo Maldonado Garcia.
Thank you, Hugo. Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, was fired a few days ago after being accused of stealing millions of dollars from the Dodgers star. Now, the IRS and the MLB are investigating the case and are looking into the translator's alleged ties to an illegal bookmaker. ESPN reported that $4.5 million were withdrawn from Ohtani's accounts, though it is unclear who initiated the transfer. They also said Mizuhara's sports betting started as early as 2021. The translator initially said that Ohtani reluctantly agreed to help him pay off his debts, but then changed his story to say Shohei had no knowledge of the gambling. Mizuhara admitted betting on sports, but said that he never gambled on any MLB games.
March Madness is here, and the men's Sweet 16 is set. All the 1 and 2 seeds are still alive. Most dominated, but Houston needed overtime to dispatch Texas A&M after a thrilling buzzer beater by the Aggies tied the score in regulation. Oakland's Jack Golke hit 10 threes to knock out Kentucky in the first round, but the Golden Grizzlies fell to 11 seed North Carolina State in overtime when they couldn't stop big man DJ Burns Jr. Oregon and Creighton went to double overtime. The Pac-12 school relied heavily on its 2 stars, but couldn't stop the Blue Jays' offense in the second overtime period. Big names like Duke and Gonzaga cruised their way through opponents as well, while 6-seed Clemson upset 3-seed Baylor to advance. The Sweet 16 will begin Thursday.
President Biden has made his picks for this year's March Madness tournaments. In the men's tournament, Biden chose 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds to make the Final Four. He ended up picking UConn to win the tournament for the second year in a row, and former President Obama agreed with his pick. Biden also correctly predicted one of the upsets, which was 11th seed NC State beating 6th seed Texas Tech. In the women's tournament, he picked South Carolina, UCLA, Stanford, and UConn to make the Final Four, and chose South Carolina to win the whole thing. He wished all the teams good luck.
Female sports has been on the rise since the turn of the 20th century, and is becoming more and more mainstream in the United States. Valley View News' Mark Monroy has the unique story of a local girl on a boys' team.
Every generation cracks open a new base of opportunity. It happens to be the case for one Santa Clarita baseball pitcher.
I am different, but that doesn't mean that I have to be treated different.
Cameron Ely is a female baseball pitcher for Valencia's varsity baseball team.
Yeah! So she plays with the boys because she loves the game. And so I think she's sending the message to little girls that if it's something that you want to do, you should pursue it.
Ever since Ely was a little girl, her parents always knew she was destined to be more than just a t-ball player.
Maybe foolishly asked the 3-year-old, do you want to play again? And she kind of said, no, I've done that. It's okay.
At first, I didn't want to keep playing. My first year, I told my parents I wanted to quit, and they're like, no, give it one more shot. And ever since then, I love baseball and just stuck with it.
Ely has managed to break through that gender barrier and become the first ever female baseball player to play in the William S. Hart School District here in Santa Clarita.
When she made that next jump from junior ball to varsity, she had some mixed reactions.
At first, it was terrifying.
Being the only girl on the team came with a bit of what Ely says is unnerving thoughts, having the assumption that her being there would be a bit weird for other players.
But slowly, I've started to come out of my shell and realize that these are just guys that want to play baseball, and it just so happens I'm a girl that wants to play baseball. We're all out here for the same thing, and I truly love this team, and I hope we do really well this year.
But Ely has had her coach, Brad Meza, to guide her through the obstacles.
Person, I believe, that can beat you. What's funny is she has the maturity. She has the maturity to handle it all. You know, haven't really had to guide her through, you know, a female in a male sport too much. She can handle it herself. She's very mature.
If I work hard enough, I will find a place for myself wherever I go.
For lack of a better term, she's one of the guys. I mean, she's all they see is a teammate.
Reporting in Santa Clarita for Valley View News, I'm Mark Monroy.
Mark, thank you. You know, that's a very heartwarming story. You typically only see things like that in movies.
No, yeah, definitely. Hopefully in a few years, we'll see her in MLB.
Definitely.
That's all for us on Valley View News. I'm Quinn Alexander.
And I'm Edward Segal. For stories any time of day, see our YouTube channel at Valley View News and our Instagram page at Valley View News CSUN. Thanks for watching.